Welcome to the Money Fit MD show. I'm Dr. Latifat, the founder of Money Fit MD.
We want to change the narrative
where women physicians use.
My job is to let you know that's gonna be.
I have to surround myself with people that are doing crazy things.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Money Fit MD show. I'm so glad you guys are here. Listen up, you are in for a treat. And I'm so excited and indeed really honored that I get to invite and interview one of my clients, one of our 6 to 7 members, who has also now become a friend of mine. And I'm really incredibly happy and glad that you guys get to learn from her, hear from her about her journey, really, because the more we are sharing the stories, the more you guys know that you're not alone. And this is how we are going to change healthcare when it comes to women physicians being empowered, being equipped, and leading their finances the way that they want to. So welcome, Dr. Amina.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. I am nervous. It's the first for me, but it's okay. We do what scares us. So
We do what scares us. I love that. Yes. So, let's just go right to it and just tell us a little bit about, for you, like, let's look at your journey to money. Let's say about 5 months ago. Tell us where you were in your finances and a little bit of background about how you became that woman 5 months ago.
Yeah, so wow, journey to money. It's so funny because if we go back to childhood, I'll briefly, succinctly make that. But I think grew up middle class, and it was kind of like we have what we need. You can have a little bit of what you want. Like it's fine, it's comfortable. But I think if anything, my parents are definitely spenders, and so it's spend. And for me, there's a little scarcity mentality there. Just they come from humble beginnings, and they raised us the best that they could, in terms of money. And then my father's a mathematician, so he's going to make the math. So I've always loved math. I think the biggest thing was student loans. Like that student loan burden is heavy for me, just being the third child, again, middle class, coming from that, the way that our whole system is set up, the path to medical school. I mean, who can afford that really? Middle class definitely can't, especially being the third. So I think the student loans catapulted me into really golden handcuff scenarios. And how I ended up here was I decided to leave full-time practice just because I was burnt out, and my husband was gracious and was okay with my decision to just up and leave without me kind of being involved in our finances. And so I think in that season of leaving, just staying home with my youngest, I realized, okay, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. And I need to actually begin to have the financial conversations so that I can strategically plan, because I need autonomy. If anything, I know that I need that autonomy.
So let's go back a little bit with that story. How long ago were you done with training?
Right. Yeah. So I started residency in 2020 and I finished in 2023. I was pregnant with my second at the time when I graduated. So I'm like, we need a paid maternity leave. What are we doing? And I'm family med. So we relocated to Tampa, which is my family's here. And that's a whole financial decision because I could have stayed and lived life great in Memphis. My husband could pay all I could have been living. But anyway, and then I worked full time for about a year and a half. And November 2024, I was like, no, this is killing me. And so I resigned. And of course, 90 days, February 2025. So it's been a full year really since I left.
Wow. And when you were in training during your residency, did you use the word autonomy? Is that something that you knew about then? Is that something that was important to you then? Or that's something that you've learned through your, practice now over the last 2 years or so?
Yeah. So I would say that it's something that I started to feel in residency, but I didn't have the word for it. Like I didn't, because we're in training. So obviously you can't be autonomous, like you're learning. But I do think that I would often speak up when things bothered me. I'm a New Yorker and then I'm in the South at that. So, you can infer. We'll leave that there. But it definitely rubbed amongst a couple shoulders. And so I think that was the first inkling. And I actually remember one of my program directors, because they switched, mentioning to me, maybe after you graduate, you might want to do urgent care or direct primary care. Didn't tell me anything else kind of about it, but just casually mentioned it. So then I thought it would be better once I started full time. The salary would be better, and then once that happened, I can you pause this? I'm so sorry. My little child just walked in. Hi, Azariah. Azariah, go upstairs to Daddy, please.
Mommy, it's not good being sick.
It's not good being sick. So I remember my program director, one of the two at the time, telling me that, you should either do urgent care or DPC, which I really didn't even know what DPC was at that time. And so I think once I went into full time, employed within a hospital system, I just started noticing things pop up and would mention it. And I think being a Black physician, especially, like you struggle. You're either really nice sometimes, but then they make you out to be the monster in a lot of it's a mind, game really. And I think finding my voice was really what I was struggling with, because in a lot of ways, residency for all of us, you're learning, so you have to have that humility, but learning when to speak up was important. And so we just had a lot of challenges like at that location, but mainly it was the moral injury for me of like, I have done all this. I'm not a present mother, I'm not a present wife, and I'm not able to practice medicine in the way that I need to. And so I almost am backwards, because I was like, yeah, no, I'm out. I don't know, but God is real and he is gonna figure it out. And worst case scenario, we'll sell our house and move into an apartment. Like and we're still in a house, thankfully. But that's where I was. And so I think that it eventually was always going to come back to me having that financial freedom and debt, like the mindset of debt being freedom, because nobody's paying $700,000 worth of student loans. Who's doing that? So I think I found my way to, okay, I need autonomy. The path to that is going to include me like getting to my finances and being an equal partner with my spouse in them.
I love it. And is your spouse a physician as well, or no?
Absolutely not. I commend all those two physician households. I don't even know how you guys do it, except I know God is making a way for all of you. But no, my husband is a software engineer. He has always worked from home. It is the only way we were able to have two babies during residency.
Got it. Got it. And so you were like, I'm done. You quit. There was no plan in terms of like what you were going to do. And you said at that point you were not into the finances, but you kind of felt like you guys would be okay, or you're just like, listen, I don't care. I just need to like grab my oxygen mask and not die here.
So, yeah, no, it was the grab my oxygen mask and not die here. My husband was telling me about the finances, but I didn't have the capacity really in residency to really be with him in that. And so it was kind of like, listen, pay the mortgage. I'm going to go to work for 80 hours and you got it, right? And he was like, yeah, I have it. And I really think that once I left the job and I did some physician coaching, and it kind of led, once you start that growth, that initial, domino, the effect then happens. And so it led to, oh, my block is money, where I have such fear of how things will go. And I'm just worried that it'll be financial ruin. And I think that comes because there's always this weight of student loans on your shoulders. So you feel like, well, I have to work. And I think it wasn't until I left the job that I realized, okay, how much is money worth? How much is this really worth? Because my sanity is worth more than 240K, 250K, whatever they're paying you.
Wow. So much to extract. How much is money worth? Can you talk to us a little bit more about that thought process? Like, how much is money worth? Because there are many people that may be listening to this right now that are at a crossroad and they're making decisions based on finances. And it is real, like the fear of finances, but there was a moment in there where you asked yourself, how much is money worth? That's a powerful question.
Yeah, I think that it's almost like you get to what you dreamed of, right? So I, became a physician. It wasn't the specialty. So I went through a lot of hard times in 2020, because that's when I started residency, wedding got canceled, all this breakdown, and then had to start residency, had a major surgery in between all that, like craziness. But I think you felt like you had to. You just had to. Like, it doesn't matter that I'm 6 weeks post-op. I got to go to work. And so I think once you had didn't have that looming over you, you realize, okay, but now I have quadruple the salary, but I still don't feel how I thought I would. I have a husband, I have children, God's blessed us with a house, God's done all these things, and yet I still feel so empty. Why is that, right? And worse, I'm not showing up at home the way that I want to. I want to be a mom. I enjoy being a wife. I love this. But I feel empty, right? And so I think realizing, oh, I'm so tapped out in this position because of the healthcare structure. I think we all are leading to burnout. And for me, it probably was expedited by the fact that COVID happened and I initiated my training during COVID. So I don't even know what it was like before. My generation, we just started off burnt out. So I just there. And I think
like we just started burned out. Like
we
started.
did. I mean, because think about it. We all worked so hard in residency to then have a graduation and match day celebration, all that. We had none of that. And compounded with I didn't match, I soaked. And my wedding got canceled. And we still had to get married because we, were gonna get married before we moved. And so it was a lot of craziness. And so I think COVID almost was a gift in a way. It's crazy that I will say that because it made you realize that you can plan and do all these things, but life can happen. And then you think to what money's worth because what mattered more in that moment. It doesn't mean you don't need money. Like, obviously, we have to pay our bills, but no amount of money in the world would have saved you or a family member from COVID when it came.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Well, thanks for that was power. Thanks for sharing that. And so now let's go to last year. So now there's a student loan. There's my husband does the money. I don't do the money. All of that. What was it that made you? Actually, how did you even find out about me? How did we connect?
Oh, you ready for the cascade? Okay.
Oh,
It's
okay.
cascade. All right.
Okay.
So Christian, obviously, and Holy Spirit just speaking sometimes. All right. So a physician coach posted in one of the Facebook groups, YBAB, about coaching for moms, which I felt like the burden for physician moms is just different. So I did that community and it was amazing. It was Dr. Toya. And somewhere in there, one of the women, it was a group, mentioned Dr. Una. Okay, so probably see where this is going. So I started listening to Entre MD and the different podcasts, and I was like, okay, all right, I like what's going on. I'm gonna make a long story kind of short. Basically, one of my friends from med school lives in Atlanta. She goes to Dr. Una's church. Okay, I didn't know this, and this is July of 2025. So this is one of my locums positions ended at that time. And she's like, come to church with me. Cool, of course. I find out that Dr. Una's husband is the pastor of the church. And so I'm like, oh, right, I got to get back on. What am I doing with my career? And I think that God met me there and it was like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to stay home with your son. Cause I was trying to do short-term gigs and things like that. So then, of course, in listening to her podcast again, I think Money for NZ had come up. But before that, I had heard of you because in my coaching, I realized that the finances was my block. So I was like, things keep circling back, doubling down. And you're like, okay, yes, Lord. Okay. My block here is finances. How am I going to fund my practice? How am I going to do any of this? And then that led me to, I see 6 to 7. I said, okay, Wealth Village. Yeah, Lord, I don't have a job right now. What are we doing? But I think we could make this work. And so that's how we ended up here.
Wow. And I remember when I think it was in November of 2025 or October, November, somewhere around that, you had sent me a message and like, I'm interested, but I had some fears. I'm curious, like, what were some fears that you had going in? Because there's someone listening right now that as now like, oh my goodness, her life sounds like mine and fragments of it. And so now they're at a point where you're thinking about 6 or 7. What were some of the fears that was in the way of you taking the jump?
Yeah, I think the biggest fear was return on investment, right? I can use that lingo now, but it was okay. I made this leap. I've done all these things and I'm trying to spend money. And then in my head, I'm like, scare money don't make no money. That's my thought, right? And I'm like, that's true, right? Not in the way I would have expected it. And then I can hear Dr. Toya of like, but this is an investment in you. And I'm like, okay. And that I think this is the positive part of my student loans is So nothing costs more than that. Okay. Like it's more than the interest rate on my student. Anyway, so I'm just like, okay, I've invested so much in schooling, literally. Can we do this? And my husband, I have a supportive husband. Thank guys, we're happily married. And he is always supportive of go do it. So I talked to him about it, and he's just like, yeah. Because we had those conversations of he was happy for me to be involved.
Finally,
It was just like, oh, God answers prayers. Right? We finally getting on board. And so we're like, okay, we can make this investment, especially because I knew at that point that I was going to start a direct primary care practice. It's always been the goal since I left my job. So I'm like, well, you can't run a business without knowing finances. Like, that's not smart. So.
And that was the moment. Then you took the jump. And now it's been about almost 4 months. Like, how has that journey been for you? Walk me through that journey.
It's crazy to look back. It flew by. It's like the days are short, but the years are short, but the days are long. But so I think starting a lot of like intimidation of like I didn't feel like I belonged, and not because of anything anyone else did, but it's like I had 3 different jobs. I'm home full time, but I obviously want to practice medicine kind of. And how do I do it? And I think I was welcomed. I think it was gentle. It was a gentle growth type thing. But it was also honest. And so I had to look at the math. Oh, you know what I forgot to say? I'm so sorry. I'm going back. Dr. Una had a session because, again, I love to get access to resources for free. It was med school for me, was free resources. So she had one, and the biggest thing she was talking about is like face the math, do the math, right? And I was like, great. So when I got here, I was like, okay, I know I'm going to have to face it. And since then, I'm like, I love Copilot. I'm like, oh, we got a Copilot. I've been paid for the yearly one. And I was like, it was coming to me like, no, I can't lose this. I need this. This is great. I can put everything there. I don't have to ask my husband about anything because I have access to all of it, and he's like happy to, to do it. And I think just having a plan for it has been the biggest thing. I think I am more confident. And most importantly, I'm able to call out the lies that I believe and fight it with facts of like,
Wow.
can't really, you can't, no one's doing that. It's how can I? And I think that is just opening your eyes to like, actually, God is abundant, the world is abundant. It's really your brain that's lagging behind. So come on.
Ooh, I like that. The world is abundant. It's your brain that's lagging behind. I'm curious, what are some, if you were to pick like 2 maybe tangible things that you did that you're like, I look back now and I'm like, I cannot believe that I did that, and you want to celebrate. What are those 2 things you would say?
It's so crazy. I still struggle with celebration. But it feels good. It's just, biggest thing was sitting down with a student loan planner. I've been avoiding that because no. And also creating the business plan complete with startup costs for my DPC, and really settling on what we're doing when we're opening it and having it fully fleshed out. And I think that is the biggest win because I'm able to challenge the narrative of, okay, listen, yes, it's scary. And you know what? I don't know how, but we're going to keep moving in the right direction and grow and lean into the fear. And like it reveals so much about you. I think the fears, it's so much more than just money. And I think that was the beauty of the experience, is tying it back into, oh, you're struggling with perfectionism. Yeah, that's influencing your money too. Like it doesn't need to be perfect. Just do it.
Yes. And that's one of the biggest things that shifted things for me is many times we're thinking that there's going to be a perfect time. We think there's going to be a perfect way. There's going to be a perfect system. And when we call out that imperfection, it's actually there's never going to be a perfect time. It's the time that you decide is a good time that you do. There's no one way that's like perfect for everybody. You decide and customize it. But I love hearing that you haven't, it's like an intimacy with your numbers, really.
Yeah. And I think the hardest, not the hardest, but you had a lot of heavy hitting sessions. I loved our goal session. And I say that because it's never just about you. I think that is for women. The biggest thing is like me getting control of my finances is not just about me. me having to just look at it helps me to leverage that resource in a way that gives life to my family and also to other women around it. And so for my DBC, I don't know that I've ever told you what it will face on, but it's going to be called a place for moms, direct primary care. And so for me, it's motherhood and the fact that you do not have to sacrifice every part of your being to be a mother and taking care of them in a primary care setting where we can really like nurture them and listen and love them. And I think you keep seeing the need and it's like, really, Amina, you're gonna let money be the thing that stops you from using your voice and helping others? Like, that's not, God didn't give you all of this for no reason. And so trust that. And in order to trust it, you also have to face it and keep pushing. So, yeah.
How has this affected your relationship with your spouse? I'm curious. Has it at all?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, yeah, in a positive way. I think I'm the or he's the more trusting one when it comes to finances. So he's really like, sure, you got it. He has full access. And I think it's less concerns about where it is. Like, listen, this is the budget. We allotted it to that and that's what it's going to be or not. I think we are able to have financial discussions without the tension. I was the tension, by the way. It was me. I was the problem. Without everything being so emotional and kind of ending in just angst. And anyone who's married knows when you have those tense moments. And I think they are few and far between. And more importantly, we don't have to have sit downs every time just to have a financial discussion. Like, we can just bring it up because
Wow.
again, I was the problem. And so now it's just like, yeah, I was thinking about purchasing this or whatever. Is that okay? And you're like, yeah, actually, I know where we're doing, how that, yeah, that's good. And it'd be quick and not a whole to do.
Wow. And before it used to be like a whole.
Oh, yeah, because scarcity. I'm like, do we really need that? I feel like we don't. Don't spend that. No, $100. No, I feel like no, they're good. But then also, yeah, it was. And I think even this how you spend money, the value-based spending is just plays out in my mind the whole time. Listen, the return on investment, I'm so proud of myself. I have mastered how to make Auntie Anne's pretzels because I'm not paying $7 for a pretzel because it's not worth it for me. Like, I just am like, I'm proud of that accomplishment, okay? Like, it three times it took for me to figure it out. But that was important to me and I got to make a memory with my children and we're rolling down and
Love
do
it.
these things that just purchasing it could never give us. And it's like, yeah, because it's not just about the finances, it's also about everything else that comes with it.
I love it. So let me ask you this because this was your biggest concern before you joined 6 to 7. Am I going? Well, you didn't have the word for ROI, return on investment, then. So you're like, is this going to help me? Is that what you were thinking then? Like, what was the lingo?
Yeah, I was just like, is it worth it? But I also think that I knew that you couldn't answer that question. So I asked it because I think no, it wasn't, is it worth it? My question was, do I fit in here? That was
Hmm.
the biggest question because I knew it was worth it. I knew that whatever I put in, like, you can only improve by getting more knowledge. It was that I didn't feel like I fit because I had a year of essentially like working a couple months at a time and then really home. And so my salary wasn't at a level that it could have been. And so that was really it. It's like, I don't feel like I fit in here. I'm going to stick out. I don't feel like I belong here. But if you who created it, if I tell you my story and you tell me that I can fit, then I'm gonna trust you.
Okay. So now looking back, after you've been in the experience now, did you fit in?
Yeah, I think it was so welcoming. I think the space is just honest. I think as the weeks went on and you get to learn other people's personalities, which is always fun for me. Yeah, absolutely. It felt very close. Although we are so far, it felt very close.
And that's the power of the group. That's something that you will never get from a one-on-one because when you're in the group, you're not just learning from your situation or from me or from the modules. You're learning from all the other women, the stories. Though you're like, oh, I've never heard about that. Gonna write it down, right? Oh, I've never heard about that word. I'm gonna write it down. And there's just so much more growth that happens in community, that when we are so afraid, when we have so much shame, when we want to hide, we miss out on all of that potential growth.
And that actually was the selling point for me, because I had done the physician coaching with Dr. Toya, and it was called the Connected Motherhood Experience. And so it was group coaching. After experiencing that, I was like, yeah, I want that. And so that was the draw for me, because I agree with you. Everybody has different perspectives and experiences and things to add, and you never know, and you learn so much more in community, which is really how God intended. But
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just
yes.
here.
So now let's talk about your ROI. Do you think it was worth it? Did you get the value?
Yes. Okay. 1,000 times yes. I say it so quickly because it's April 15th. It is tax day. And another win is that I signed up with a tax strategist who is amazing. And yeah, I said, how much are we getting back? What? That pays for you. That pays for this class. Okay, cool. We're done, right? Like that alone, right? That's without even learning a more so. And I think even the openness, and yeah, I think it just pays the dividend. It compounds. Okay. You're always saying, how the knowledge compounds, and it really does. It really does. But it won't if you don't face your fears and make those choices. You're never going to be 100%. Just take the leap.
Just
It
take the
costs more
leap.
than it costs less than medical school. Don't worry.
It costs less than medical school, and the ROI continues. And I love that you said just one thing already, like one, without even any knowledge, just having the right person on your team, learning from that person is already giving you ROI, and then everything else is like in addition to that. I love
Yeah.
that. And I cannot wait for your DPC. I cannot wait for the return to continue to compound.
Yeah.
And any last minute words for someone that was where you were a couple of months ago and is like, I've been avoiding my finances. It's overwhelming, the thoughts
Yeah.
of it. What words of wisdom would you now share as someone that has learned through this process?
So I would say that you have to trust the inner voice in yourself that's like, you need this. You have to lean into where that spirit is leading you. And I think that it's getting out of your head, right? Because your body, we like to be in control, but your body reacts. You ever smell something that smells terrible? Like, even as a doctor, so I know we all have. And thank God for mask. But your first response is, oh, to move back. But really, you've been training yourself not to. And so listen to your body, listen to your shoulders and the tension. And really, it's going to lead you or help you to uncover what you really want to do. And so my advice is that life is going to move regardless. And no one has all the answers. If they tell you they do, run. But no one does. So really take the leap, because
Definitely.
the world will move without you.
The world will move without us, and time be flying. The kids will
Mhm.
grow, the
Mhm.
time will come, the time will pass, and that's the thing. The more we delay the start, the
Mhm.
more we delay the result,
Like
right
retirement. Mhm.
there. And that's how it is.
Yeah.
No,
And I'm
oh,
proud of them, really, for even listening to it. I think if they have made it to your podcast, then they want so much more than the current structure that we live in. You already want it. So just take a small step, small leap, baby steps will get you there. Start somewhere. The change has to start with you, has to start with all of us.
wow, wow. I'm so excited for you, Dr. Amina. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your family. I'm excited for those that you're going to serve. Um, it's one thing to know you need the help. It's another thing to do it even when your income is not as strong. But the work that you put in is the reason why you're going to be ridiculously successful with your DPC. And we cannot wait 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. I know that you're going to be the one talking into a mic on a podcast, talking to moms. Listen, we just called it out like it's going to be. Talking to moms and like parenting and all of that, and I cannot wait to witness all that God has for you and all that you're going to create in this world. So thank you for saying yes, because it means that I get to even meet you and know you, like closer to us than like just listening on the podcast. And what that means is our lives are all richer
Yeah.
as we get to know each other. So thank you for saying yes.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be just in your community, in your environment, and to have built that relationship. I am opening this year. Okay. The plan is Q4, beginning of Q4 to open. And I know that that will happen because it's not what if and what it's how can I?
How can I?
How can I? I love it. Negotiation. I can do God with God all things are possible. So I don't even doubt it. And when I do, he helps. So
Absolutely,
thank you.
absolutely. And I love that last tidbit. How can I? How can I? So if you're sitting on the fence, if you're like, Latifat, this debt needs to go. I want to invest. I want to feel better about my practice. I want to be, invest. I want to have generational wealth. I want to stop fighting about money so much. I want to negotiate. I want the freedom. The best place to start is here with 6 or 7. And we'll make sure the link is in the show notes so that you can join us if you're ready to say yes. Well, Dr. Mina, I enjoyed it so well. Thank you for sharing your story. I learned from you, and I know that our audience are going to be so, so glad that you chose to share with them today.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to seeing everybody in community.
All right, everybody. If you've enjoyed this episode, if you've learned something, go ahead and share with others. We're on a mission to help more women physicians by normalizing this money stories. And that's what we're doing here on Money Fit MD. So go ahead and share it. And again, I look forward to seeing some of you guys inside of 6 or 7. God bless you. See you in the next episode.